Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. So now in the past, I've created some array libraries. So there's always a thing that there's like other functions that people would like in arrays. And there's different libraries that have tried to address this thing. Like probably most famously is Lodash. Lodash adds all these different potential functions for arrays. And then I've created my own couple libraries. I had Super Array. Now, Super Array, what it did is that it added all the functions to the array prototype. And I got some pushback on this because people are like, well, if you add stuff to the prototype, then this can cause confusion between different people using the code. So then I made better types. And in better types, basically what I did is I created a new class so that way you would avoid all that. But it wasn't necessarily, but because it was a whole new class, I had to kind of do all sorts of little tricks to get it to work the way I wanted to. And there's just certain different patterns that someone who just wanted to use an array and have a few extra functions, probably it might be a little cumbersome. And then Lodash basically just creates functions. Okay, they're just pure functions where you pass in, and so instead of just like a normal or a higher order array function like map or filter, where you just basically chain it off the array, I would just do this like array dot filter and pass in a callback. What would happen in Lodash is you would just have a function called filter, and I'd pass in the filter, and I would pass in the array, and then pass in a callback, which works. Okay, I just really wanted to kind of make it where it works more like the built-in functions. So recently I realized, and then I looked it up to see if I could do it, and it turns out I can. Since I can extend pretty much any class, like I can use inheritance, can I use inheritance with arrays and inherit a new array? And you can. So I will be rebuilding my library with all those additional functions soon using this method, but I thought I would show you this so that way if you wanted to kind of create your own array functions and create your own sort of array type with those functions, you can. So what you do is you just make a new class special array. Now that's probably a little too big a name, but you guys get the point. And it extends array. And then you can just basically add any methods you want here. So if I wanted to add sort of the opposite of filter, okay, so this would be called, I'll call it anti-filter. So basically instead of keeping the things that are true, it keeps the things that are false. Okay, so anti-filter. So then I would just say no parameters, or it takes a callback. And basically the way this would work is we'd have a for loop. We'll say let x equal 0, and then x is less than this dot length, the length of the array. And actually we need a new array because we're going to pass back a new array. So let new array equal an empty array. Okay, this dot length, and then each go around will increment x. So essentially what's going to happen is that on each go around, if this at the x index, actually no, first the callback, we're going to run the callback, and we're passing in this, the value at this index, plus we're passing in the index, because that's generally the standard format. This x. Now if that's true, then we will push that value. Actually, if it's not true, so let's put an exclamation mark here. I don't want to actually recreate filter. New array dot push this at this index, this value. Okay, and new array dot push. I don't like the way that's colored, so let's see here. Why is it? Oh, this should be an arrow function. That's why. Wait, no. I see. It just needs to be an extra parentheses right here. That should do it. There we go. That looks right. And this parentheses, I don't think I need. So let's see here. That's the for loop. This is the if statement. Then again, if it's not true, then we don't do anything with it. Save, and then basically once this for loop is ran through all the items, then we return the new array. Actually, what we want to do is return a new special array. That is the new array spread out, so that way you can still chain off any additional functions. And there you go. I have added filter. Okay, and now I can say, hey, const my array equals a new special array with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we will console.log the result of that function. Console.log my array dot anti-filter, and then we pass in the callback value index return if it's value greater than 2. So if the value is greater than 2, in this case of keeping it, it won't keep it. So I just want to get rid of everything above 2. So this should give me this should just return me an array with just 1 and 2 in it. Yep, and there we go. It worked. Okay, so basically all I did was just, and then technically I could use filter still. Okay, because again, this is an extension of array, so it has all the array functions attached to it. So I could just do filter, and this will give me everything above 2. Huzzah! Okay, so that's how you could add some array functions without having to alter the array prototype, and without necessarily having to create like a cumbersome new base class where you kind of work your way around it. And here you can still borrow a lot of the same sort of array syntax and array properties. Yeah, and I mean, if you want to understand why just creating a class that doesn't extend the array would be cumbersome, take a look at the source code for my better types library. You'll see that I kind of had to go through this whole rigmarole because I had to make the array a property of the class. So I had to keep referencing the property and reassigning the property, which, again, if you use it, you wouldn't notice the difference per se. But from a development standpoint, this would have been a lot easier. So I'm going to go back, recreate the library this way, so this way it makes it easier in the future for me to add to the library. So, yeah, just thought that was interesting. You guys have a good one. Ciao.